So my name's Faisal Rahman. I'm a kidney specialist at University Hospital at London Health Sciences Centre. And I'm the chair of the Showdown in the Downtown, which is an annual charity event that's been running since 2009. Back in 2006, I was in the prime of my career. I was in a good place. My family was healthy. I was happy. And I think one of the things that can happen to us is we become complacent, or become too focused on the inner. And I was busy with my work, trying to do a great job. I was getting promoted. I was focused on my kids. But outside of taking care of my family, I really wasn't doing much outside of my inner circle. And then in 2006, a life-changing event happened when my daughter Nadia became sick. And I still remember the day I was at a journal club and I got a phone call that Nadia was in tremendous pain. Her hands were all swollen and her knees were swollen and she was screaming in pain. And so I remember just leaving in a panic and going home and watching her and she was limping and in quite a bit of discomfort. So I was really scared. And so we took her to the emergency room at Victoria Hospital, and they didn't know what was going on. They did a slew of blood work, and they thought she might have juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. As it happens, there's no arthritis specialist that specializes in kids at the time in London. So I remember I called the top expert in Toronto, and I packed family up and went to Toronto to meet with the pediatric rheumatologist in Toronto. And they said, yeah, you know what? When I examine her and look at all of the blood work, this looks like juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. And they started her on medicines. And the medicine seemed to help in the beginning. Then all of a sudden, the pain got worse. And again, I remember a couple of weeks later, she became rigid. She was in so much pain, she couldn't move at all. And I picked her up and she was, again, screaming. It was horrible. And I remember putting her in the minivan and all the way driving down to Toronto. Every time we hit a bump, she would cry. And, your heart breaks. And we took her to Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto. And when she was there, they said, you know what, something's atypical here. And so they did a bone marrow biopsy and discovered she had acute leukemia. So that was the beginning of a long journey for all of us. She was hospitalized for 3 months because she was so sick at the time. And when she was in there and getting toxic drugs pumped into her and getting infections and other complications, I met other families and other little kids who were going through it. And they all kind of heard that I was a doctor. So they would come to me for comfort, to talk to them and talk to the kids and stuff. Meanwhile, I was in a position where I needed to be comforted too. And it was a very odd situation to be in. But it made me realize how vulnerable we all are, how vulnerable or how fragile life is. But thank goodness, because of great medical care that we received from Dr. Shayna Zeltzer at Victoria Hospital, she made an excellent recovery and has been in remission now for we're approaching 10 years now. But that life-changing moment made me realize that I can't be selfish. I can't just worry about myself or those I love around me. I need to make a difference. And so that's where I started really getting involved with charity work, and we started raising money for the Lymphoma and Leukemia Society. And then after that, we wanted to really take it to another level, and I met with my colleagues, and I was encouraged by my colleagues, Dr. Blake and Dr. Garg, to start a charity event to benefit our patients, our kidney patients, and others as well. And so I'd always had a passion for combat sports. I'd always kind of trained in boxing. I'd never participated in an actual fight, but I always had an interest in that. And so I said, listen, if I'm gonna create a new charity event, it has to be something that I'm passionate about. And I'm passionate about combat sports. I always have been since I was 10 years old. And so we started this event, and my boxing coach at that time, Kathy Urey, said, if you really want to raise money, you should compete and fight, because people want to come and see you fight. And so I said, okay, let's do it. And so I formed a committee. I found Francie Ender, who was an event planner who had actually organized the combat sports event before mine, who had some experience. And I formed an awesome committee consisting of nurses and doctors and lawyers and business people. We all got together and we created Showdown in the downtown. And we had our first inaugural event in 2009. It was a boxing competition between the United States and Canada, and I fought on that event. And it was the beginning of something very special. You know, I would have been very pleased if we had raised $20,000 or $30,000, and from that first event we raised $100,000 after all expenses paid, and so we were able to benefit our kidney patients, but invest into research and in poverty programs and to help homeless shelters and such. So we kept going and we kept upping the ante. I then started competing in kickboxing and mixed martial arts, and we've had a number of tournaments featuring those sports. We've had title events in kickboxing, and with every event that we've had lately, we've raised up to $250,000 per event. And so we've been able to benefit so many different charities, which take care of patients suffering from special needs, from a variety of different illnesses, epilepsy, cancer research, kidney research, people needing solid organ transplantation. We've really been able to benefit all aspects of life. So not only medical research, but poverty initiatives, initiatives that help vulnerable populations and our special needs populations. And so it's something that I'm extremely proud of. And I think it started because of that very first time when my daughter became sick. It made me realize that we need to look beyond ourselves and help others who are in need and others who are battling medical illnesses especially. You know, some people did approach me saying it's a bit odd that you're doing a medical charity in a sport that people get hurt in, but I see a lot of parallels between combat sports and our patients who are and our citizens who are battling illness or poverty or social isolation. And you know, there are a number of times, I can speak for myself, when I've been in the ring where I've been pummeled. You know, I've been against the ropes, getting, you know, beat up by a guy who's stronger than me or more athletic than me, and finding the willpower to overcome that, to keep going and to keep battling. No matter how many times I've been knocked down, I've always tried to get up and face what I'm facing. And I think our patients go through that tenfold more than we do in combat sports when they're battling cancer or kidney disease. They have to get up every day, sometimes not feeling great, and push forward, push through the day. And I think combat sports teaches us that no matter what you're facing in the cage or in the ring, you know, you have to overcome that if you're going to succeed or get to the next level. And I'm always encouraged by the courage our patients show when they do that every day, despite side effects of medications and what they're going through with their illness experience. They're able to push through and go to another day and hopefully go to a better day. So for example, if they're on dialysis, to get to that kidney transplant that returns them to a quality of life that they would want. And the research we support will help them do that. For our fellow citizens who are battling homelessness, you know, we support the Unity Project, which is a shelter that prides itself in trying to find independent living arrangements for our citizens who are battling homelessness. When we support the Mary J. Wright Center, which is helping children who are facing social isolation, you know, the work that they do is going to ensure that their lives improve, and that also hopefully we can do research to help prevent children from going through such difficult experiences. Again, I'm very proud that after 12 years of running this program, we've raised over $2.4 million for a variety of charities. This is our 13th event. You know, COVID has had its challenges. Our last two events have been virtual, but I'm so proud to say that our last virtual event raised more money than all of our previous events combined for our charities. So I'm very grateful for all of our sponsors. I'm very grateful to Domino's Pizza Canada that has contributed $1.8 million over the next 10 years. They've committed to donating that much more. I'm grateful to Ellis Don and Jeff Smith, the CEO of Ellis Don, who has supported us year after year with huge money. And And I'm grateful to all of our heavyweight sponsors, our corporate sponsors, all of the nephrologists and doctors and nurses who have donated their time and money to this to make it successful. And so welcome to our 13th annual Showdown in the Downtown. And I just want to thank everyone who has supported us over the years.